Okay, in this example, I want to show you how to conditionally format based on a relative and absolute referencing strategy. So let's take a look at our data set. We have a column of first names, last names, the gender for the person, and an age. So let's go ahead and evaluate the age and conditionally format it based on whether the age is below 45 or above 45. So what you might want to do is create a threshold value, a cellular reference, or simply type it in. But since one of the best practices in Excel is to reference other cell locations, I'm going to create the threshold. So the threshold value in this case will be 45 years of age. So what we want to do with the active cell, D2, is select conditional formatting, new rule. In this case, since we're using a threshold value, we do not want to select format only values that are above or below the average. We have a particular value in mind, so we need to actually write a formula. So we can write this formula to say equals is 70 less than, and we'll say equal to 45. Now we have to think about how we're actually going to apply this format after we hit enter in this case. We want to fill this formula, if you will, down using the format painter. So in order to achieve that, we never want the reference to G1 to change, but we do in fact want the reference to change from D2 to D3, D4, D5. If that's the case, we should not lock rows. Let's go ahead in this case and delete columns as well, and let this purely be a relative index. Let's go to Format. Anything below 45, our threshold, let's fill with green and use white font. And let's go ahead and make that bold. Let's hit OK and OK again. 70 is definitely not less than 45, so nothing is showing up. Let's see what happens once we apply the format painter and paint this format down throughout all the rows. We do in fact have these conditionally formatted the way we want so far. We could even change the threshold to some other arbitrary number, let's say 25. And now we're seeing a few instances of our data set within below or equal to 25. So it's working as intended. Let's change this back to 45. Let's go back to our active cell, D2, and write the secondary portion of what we'd like to format, which is a new rule, and then anybody above the threshold, let's fill that with red and bold white text. So we write the second formula equals D2 in this case. Let's remove the dollar signs, greater than the threshold of 45, and set the format to a fill red with white font that is bold, and hit OK. And OK here. So actually this is formatted the way we expected. Let's use the format painter and apply this format down. Overwrite any existing formats that were applied. And now we have something exactly what we intended to do, which is to utilize the threshold value and conditionally format these values with the red and or green. However, I want to extend this example just a little bit, and in any case I have a red fill, I want the entire line to be red. And likewise, if we have an age that is filled with green, I want the entire row to also be green. So you might be asking, well, how do we achieve that? Well, it's all in the referencing strategy that we use. Let's go examine our formulas. I'm going to go to Manage Rules. So here the rule applied in order as shown, D2. So if we were to copy, for example, without making any changes, this format from D2 across from A to C, this would change, this D2 reference would change in a relative manner. So you would be comparing, let's say, for example, C2 to G1, which G1 is 45. If we filled it over once more to the left, B2 to 45. So that's not exactly what we want. So what we do want in this particular row is that the row will be left as a relative without a dollar sign, but the column will always be locked, so we need to put a dollar sign before the D. Let's go ahead and manage this rule, edit, and simply put a dollar sign here, hit OK. Edit the second rule and put a dollar sign here. Go ahead and hit OK and OK. And now what we can do is use the format painter here and paste this format painter across the entire row. We can then use the format painter to paint the 4 columns of format that we have into the remaining cells. So we can paste that down. Now it's because we use the correct structure in our formula according to the dollar signs to achieve this. What you could perhaps do to check out all your formatting is to sort this data. So if we select our entire format, go to data, we could sort it based on age. Let's delete anything that might be there and go to age, sort in ascending smallest to largest fashion, and hit OK. So now we have all of our people in this data set formatted with a green that are below or equal to this threshold, all the way to the threshold value itself, and anything after we have it formatted differently. And of course we could change this format, this threshold, to anything we want. So if we lowered it to 25, these particular people are formatted in a way we wanted, and these people are now formatted in the desired way we wanted it.